Kia ora and welcome. My name is Ellen Rose and this is the Creative Cure to Boredom. I've created this channel to share and explore some inventive approaches to art using everyday materials you can find in your own home. The hope is that it makes the current lockdown and isolation situation just a little bit more bearable. Now today we're going to have a little look at turning trash to trophies. So the concept behind this is to gather things from your home that you might want to throw out or are a bit old to use anymore and turn them into artworks. So I'm going to use an old pillow, an old blanket, some coat hangers and a bit of cardboard. So we're going to be looking at textile art, and I'm calling it from trash to trophies because I've got a bit of a satirical play on the way hunters mount trophies on their walls. So I'm going to make a plush version. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these videos and don't forget to leave comments or suggestions below. Cheers!
So as you can see, I'm starting out with some coat hangers and I'm just trying to get some really basic shapes from the dog's face. So I've chosen to do a Neapolitan Mastiff because they're one of my favourite dogs, and I thought it would be pretty funny as a trophy wall hanging. So I've got two coat hangers there. One is serving as the jowls around its mouth and one is helping to buff out the roundness at the top of the head. I stuffed that with some stuffing from an old pillow that I've got, and that gets some of the basic rounded shape. And when I'm using the blanket, I'm really trying to work with the material and not against it. So you can see that I've done a little ear there that I've just put to the side that I'll add on later. And that's just the corner of the blanket. It already was sitting very much like the dog in the picture. So I decided that that would be just a quick and easy way to go when it comes to doing that part of the dog's face. So I'm starting out with the side of the face, and you can see that I've gathered the material a little bit there. And so all I've done is I've tacked on the material at the top and bottom, and that just means that I've used a needle and thread and just really lightly done a couple of stitches at the bottom and at the top. And then on the sides, I've actually used the needle to go through the material, going in and out, in and out, in and out along the width of it. And then I've pulled that, and that's gathered the material to create some wrinkle-like effects on that cheek there. Now I had this idea that maybe I'd use buttons for the nose and for the eyes, but it was just a little bit too intense when I gave it a go, so I decided against it. I preferred just the look of the natural blanket without any other materials. And so when I'm securing the material in place, I'm either stitching it to itself, stitching it to some of the coat hanger that sticks out from time to time, or I'm actually stitching it to the back of that cardboard to keep it in place. And so I'm just cutting it in sections and adding it as I go, trying to get some of those natural folds in the dog's face. So if you pick a material that hangs really well in a particular way, I'd really be emphasizing that when you're making your form rather than trying to make it move in a way that it's not naturally moving. So I didn't quite like the way that nose was sitting. It just wasn't doing it for me. You can see I'm doing some more of that gathering stitching now, and I'm padding out the nose a little bit more with a little bit of extra stuffing as well. So that sort of armature using coat hangers and stuffing is a really great way to build up forms quickly, no matter what you're making. So it doesn't have to be a wall hanging, it can be a freestanding form. I've used all sorts of things in the past, including bricks, spoons and cutlery, and even a cup and saucer to create some really interesting shapes. The main purpose of this is to provide some structure and to build up the shape of your form.
So I have to apologize, the video did shut off during the making process, but you can see I've added a lot more material to the forehead and to the cheeks to really flesh out some of those wrinkles. And instead of using the buttons for the eyes and nose, I've just tried to pull the nose in to get a bit of a shadow, and I've cut into the eyes so that you can see through to the stuffing, and that just gives a nice shadow for the eyes instead. So just to give a little bit of perspective around it, we've got some nice wrinkly chin, the little mouth there. We've got wrinkles across the forehead and some nice chops on this side too. So I think overall you can sort of tell that it's a dog. You can sort of tell that it's a Mastiff. It's not quite as detailed or accurate as I perhaps would have liked. Perhaps if I spent longer on this, I could have gotten a nicer shape. I was really limited with the blanket, so I ended up using all of my blankets, so I don't have any spare scraps. I would suggest that really focusing on that initial framework is really going to help the shape that you end up with. So yeah, spending more time at the beginning is going to mean less time at the end to try to flesh out the form. But this was quite a nice material to work with because it was so soft, and it's a great way to use up any scraps or old things you have in your house that you're just going to throw out anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I would love to hear if you've tried a similar sort of process. So please do leave your comments or suggestions below. I'd love to read them. My name is Ellen Rose. This has been the Creative Cure to Boredom. Till next time, ngā mihi nui.